Hello everyone, welcome to Legacies Academy. In this video, we will be talking about the World Tuberculosis Summit that happened in the month of March, that is March 24th to be specific, at a place called Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh. Okay, so in this particular summit, that is World Tuberculosis Summit that happened in the year 2023, the Honorable Prime Minister also gave out a call for the TB elimination by the year 2025, which is 5 years before the Sustainable Development Targets. So in this video, let's talk about what is tuberculosis, what is the vaccine that we have for the tuberculosis, how effective is the vaccine, and what are the challenges that we will have to keep in mind when the India is combating against tuberculosis. Let's begin. If you look at the context, as I've told you already, PM to address the One World TB Summit in Varanasi, that is on 24th March 2023 is when this particular summit actually happened. See, I'm covering this particular video for 2023 prelims because tuberculosis is in news. You will have to know the background of tuberculosis and what is the status of the tuberculosis in India, what is the contribution of India for the world tuberculosis. So all these dimensions should be covered if you're preparing for 2023 prelims examination. That is the reason why, in order to give you a better insight for the upcoming prelims examination, so we are making this effort. So key points of the summit. If you look at what happened in the summit, see this particular summit, that is the TB World Annual Summit, that was organized by the Ministry of Health and the Family Welfare. Okay, this would be obvious. So the organization or the institution that organized this particular summit was the Ministry of Health and the Family Welfare, and the Prime Minister released an annual India TB report 2023. Okay, and some information, some data from this particular report, that is the annual India TB report, and India's contribution to the tuberculosis would become important for 2023 prelims examination. And the Prime Minister also launched the TB Free Panchayat initiative. See here, the local self-government should play a very important role in identifying the TB patients and also treating them. Okay, see, TB has a prejudice or a negative connotation in the rural minds. Okay, people consider TB as a non-curable and a very, very contagious disease. It is true that it's a contagious disease, but because it spreads through air. Okay, air is a medium through which the TB spreads. It's true. But TB, 85% of the tuberculosis, 85% is very much curable. So in order to create this campaign, in order to create this narrative amongst the rural population, Prime Minister gave rise to TB Free Panchayat, local self-government. If at all in the mains examination, you have a question which talks about the importance of the local self-government. Okay, this is a very, very good example from the current affairs which you can quote in order to prove a point that whatever the legislation that would be passed by the central government or the state government, the implementation agency should be the local self-government. Okay, the recent case study of Tamil Nadu is a very good example of the importance that the Tamil Nadu government is giving for the local self-government. Okay, LSG, that is local self-panchayats, and the municipalities have been very, very much empowered because of the devolution of power in the Tamil Nadu. So this is an example that you can quote in the mains answer. Okay, so let's talk about the India's contribution to the world tuberculosis. India ironically is the largest contributor to the global TB cases. See, this is also because we have 142 crore people. Correct? Out of 142 crore people, if you just take the quantity of people or the lakhs or the crores of people who are suffering with tuberculosis, India stands number one. Again, USA, 33 crore people. Okay, so this magnitude would be obviously less, but this can't be a justification for us in order to justify the thing that India is contributing more. Okay, we will have to do a lot more initiatives in order to contain tuberculosis by 2025. With 28% cases around the world, if at all there are 100 people getting diagnosed with the tuberculosis, so out of these 100, you will have 28 people from India. India is among the 8 countries accounting for more than 2/3, around 68.3% of the world's tuberculosis cases are diagnosed in India along with the 8 other countries. India accounted for 36% of the global TB related deaths among the HIV negative people. Okay, 1 in 3 HIV negative person who actually dies, India and the TB are the contributor to it. So we're talking a lot about tuberculosis, TB and all. So this is a time where we dwell into the basics of what tuberculosis is. How is it a bacterium disease? Is it a protozoal disease? Is it a viral disease like COVID-19? So what is tuberculosis actually? Tuberculosis is a bacterium disease. Very, very important information to be remembered from the prelims examination point of view. TB is a bacterium disease caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So this is a bacteria that is actually responsible for the spread or the cause of tuberculosis. Okay, so in humans, TB is commonly for the lungs, that is pulmonary TB. Okay, this is a very common. Okay, this is very common, and we also have vaccines for the tuberculosis. So if you look at the vaccines, see, these days we have Covishield and the COVID-19, which are very, very popular because of the COVID-19 pandemic that we actually faced. But if you look at TB vaccine, and TB, the vaccine which came out around 100 years, it's been almost 100 years for the TB vaccine, that is BCG, Bacillus calmette-guerin vaccine, which uses weakened form of the TB bacteria, to fight against the infection itself. It is very, very much successful. Most of us who would be watching this particular video, you would have received this particular vaccine at a very, very tender age. You won't even remember that the vaccine has been already given to you. Okay, this is because this is a part of our universal immunization program, and India has been giving BCG vaccines to the newborn babies post-independence. So this is a continuous process that's happening in India. Okay, so although we have a vaccine that is BCG that is available, but this vaccine is not very effective against the most common form of TB, that is pulmonary TB. See, we saw the pulmonary TB is the most common form of the tuberculosis. But this vaccine that we have, that is the BCG vaccine that we have, Bacillus calmette and the guerin vaccine that we have, is not very effective against the pulmonary TB. So this is a concern because of which we want to have more and different or more efficient tuberculosis vaccines. Okay, so once we have the vaccine, what is the elimination target that we have? See, the National Strategic Plan was launched in the year 2017 and it stretched till 2025 and said by 2025 we should be in a position to eliminate tuberculosis from India, which means we should have 65 total cases per lakh population by 2025. If we have less than 65 lakh tuberculosis patients per lakh population by 2025, then we can successfully say that India has eliminated tuberculosis completely. Okay, and Indian government also came out with a scheme called as Nikshay Poshan Yojana. Okay, Nikshay Poshan Yojana. This was a scheme that is by the Ministry of Health and the Family Welfare to take care of the tuberculosis patients. What are the challenges? If you want to beat tuberculosis, if you want to eliminate tuberculosis by 2025, and if India has to become tuberculosis free by 2025, what are the challenges that we have? First challenge that we have is the rise in drug-resistant tuberculosis. See, antimicrobial resistance, that is AMR, has been a very much rising phenomena these days. The antibiotics, tablets and the syrup that we use, okay, if it is not properly diagnosed by the physician, if it is not consumed taking the scientific advice, then this might lead to antimicrobial resistance, where the TB bacteria would become resistant to the TB vaccine and also the medication. Once the bacteria becomes resistant, then we will have to innovate a different medicine in order to kill that particular bacteria. Okay, that is called as rise in drug-resistant TB or antimicrobial resistance. Disruptions due to COVID-19. See, COVID-19 has disrupted every dimension of life. Economy got disrupted, society got disrupted, the health got disrupted, and also the TB elimination target also got disrupted, because the entire health community or the professionals were very much occupied in combating COVID-19, and we had very less workforce who could actually target on tuberculosis. Underreporting is a major concern. Okay, people don't consider TB as a very serious disease unless and until it is detected. Okay, unless and until there is a health intervention, the intervention of a health personnel, the rural community won't consider tuberculosis or won't even diagnose tuberculosis. They won't even visit a doctor when they're actually suffering with the tuberculosis. So underreporting and underdiagnosis is a very big challenge that we have with respect to the tuberculosis. If you have liked the video, please hit the like button, and for more such enriching content, subscribe to Legacy IAS Academy. Have a nice day. Thank you.